just my personality. I'm kind of an introvert. Going from overnight, from like just a private person, just random person, to a public person, that was weird. And I don't know if I'll ever quite, get used to it 100%, but it's different than, had I run a campaign. I would have been for months out and about in the neighborhood, having forums and, giving interviews to the press to, I kind of would acclimate a little bit to it. So it was weird to go from literally one day to the next, just being myself. And then now I'm Jess Rivas, council person, but it's been good. The other thing I want to say, the thing that has really been heartening and encouraging through all this is getting to meet so many people throughout the rest of our districts. I've gotten to know you all very well over the past 5 years, but the rest of our district and throughout the city, and just how much people genuinely care about our community and about our neighborhoods and about our city, and putting in the work like everyone here does every day. Because we all work, we all have obligations, but people really do care and go the extra mile to do what they can to make our city an even better place to live. And so that's been amazing to see. And so I'm lucky. That's what I get to, when I clock out of work, at least I get to put work away and then just work with all of you and hear what's going on in your neighborhoods, on your streets, what your concerns are, what your ideas are, and try to put them into effect. So that's been really exciting, especially given how hard things have been this past year. I think it's really easy to get disheartened or even withdraw and turn inwards and just be like, I don't want to deal with things right now. It's just too hard. I don't want to. And I'm seeing the opposite. I've seen people really stepping up right now. And so thank you so much to everyone for everything you have been doing and are continuing to do. I look forward to continuing to work with you in this new role. In terms of kind of nuts and bolts, like logistics, working with me now in my new position, I think Josh is going to post my email and cell phone in the chat. I'll go ahead and read it out too, just so you have it. So my email is jerivas@cityofpasadena.net. So it's JE, not J Rivas. And if you email J Rivas, it'll go to an engineer in public works who is getting a lot of emails from me. So he forwards them. He's very nice, but I think he's getting sick of it. So if you can, make sure you get the right email. And then my cell phone is 626-298-5120. And absolutely feel free to reach out to me on my cell, shoot me a text, give me a call. I may not be able to get back to you right away while I work. I can't do city business on county time, but I spend every evening catching up on all my texts and emails. And really, my job as a council person is to hear from you. I need to know what you think, what concerns you, what's going on your street, in your neighborhood, maybe things big picture in the city that aren't on my radar that you know about because of your own subject matter expertise or your work background or just your personal interests. So please, please, please don't hold back on reaching out to me. I want to hear from you. It's my job. Don't feel like you're bothering me. That's what I'm here for. I know that's what I signed up for. So don't hold back at all. I really want to hear from you. So feel free to reach out to me directly by email or through by text or giving me a call. The other thing I'm setting up is, again, because I work full time, it's a little hard or impossible really to take calls during the week unless I schedule them during my lunch hour, which I've been doing. But the other thing I've been doing is just dedicating a block every weekend, usually Saturday morning, early afternoon, to just chat with people, to call. So if you shoot me a text or send me an email and saying, hey, I wanted to have a more in-depth conversation about something, we'll slot you in so we can chat during that time. And if Saturday morning happens not to work with you, we can try to work around and find another time. But that's the dedicated block that I have right now. The other thing I'm doing to make sure I'm able to reach out to people and people can find me and be able to share their thoughts with me is that I am starting to have office hours. So the idea, once the pandemic gets better, is to physically be somewhere like in the park, Via Park or Washington Park, or I don't know, maybe in front of a market or a laundromat, places where people are coming in and out, where they can just stop by and say hello and, and share what's on their mind. So I hear we're moving from purple to red tier on Monday. So maybe moving forward, we'll be able to hold the office hours in person. However, I'm going to have my first one tomorrow, and we're going to be doing it virtually. And you may have seen that if you got an email, if you're signed up for our district emails, you should have got an email. Pretty much to join, it's going to be tomorrow between 12:30 and 2. And all you have to do is go to the District 5 website. And actually, I'm going to pull that up and drop it in the chat so that you can get that. 1 second. And there's a button on there. And so between 12:30 and 2, and you don't have to be there at 12:30. In fact, probably it's better that you spread it out. Not everyone comes right at the same time. You can click on that button and it will take you into, it's going to be a Microsoft Teams this time, not a Zoom, but it works pretty much the same way. Yeah, I'm told you don't need to download anything. You should just be able to click it and it'll pop open your browser. Hold on, let me drop that in the chat. And so that'll be another way if you want to chat further tomorrow. I encourage you all to be there and just say hi. I would love to chat with you more one-on-one. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, that'll be tomorrow, 12:30 to 2. Stop by, say hello, share your thoughts. And then I'm going to try to have those regularly, at least monthly, I'm thinking, maybe more frequently at first, especially, since I'm new and I want to get around and see everyone throughout the district. And so hopefully soon we'll be able to have them, outdoor, in person, social distance, but I'm looking forward to being able to have something in person soon, because I'm sure I know we're all tired of Zoom. We're all zoomed out. In terms of actual, substantive issues I wanted to chat about, the first and the one that's really, taking up a lot of my time over the past few weeks is the violence in and around Via Park. Of course, we all know there was a shooting of the 10-year-old boy, Mario, back on February 14th. It seems like since then, things have settled down a bit, thankfully. There's been increased police presence, increased patrols. They parked the mobile police command out there for a while. The police are investigating every lead. Last I heard from Chief Perez is that they think they're pretty sure gang members are involved, whether or not it's gang. He differentiates whether it's gang related or not by, is it just gang members and doing, things, having disputes separate from their gang membership, or is it actual, beef between two gangs? And those are all the things that they're looking into, and hopefully we'll be able to crack the case soon. He says they have a lot of leads, they're working on all of them. So hopefully we hear something on that front soon. I've been working with the police department, Parks and Rec, and the city manager's office to address the concerns of all the residents who are living, right immediately around the park. They're interested in setting up a neighborhood watch, so that's getting off the ground now. They're interested in possible speed humps around the park, hopefully I guess the idea would be to deter people from, speeding through that area or maybe hanging out and driving through that area needlessly, because apparently that has been an issue. People just kind of cruise through there and aren't up to good things. That's what I've been told by, people who live around the neighborhood. And neighbors have proposed various ideas about the park, increasing lighting, perhaps having cameras, increasing the programming. A lot of the programming in the park has been limited due to COVID and also daylight savings. So they had a bunch of programs that were supposed to be there in the winter term that got moved to Victory Park. Once the spring term starts, they should be moving back. So I think that's going to help a lot to have more people in the park, and just having more positive activities in the park will make a big difference. The next big topic I wanted to chat about was affordable housing. I don't know if everyone heard that this Monday, the City Council, we approved a new pilot program to give priority for residents who have been displaced from Pasadena in our affordable housing priority list. And so that was part of it. But the other part of it that we did was also to give priority and move to the top of the list what are called, what the housing department's terms, overhoused folks. So those are people who are in affordable housing units that are maybe for 2 or 3 people, maybe 2 or 3 bedrooms, but now there's just 1 or 2 people. And so basically they have more room than they need. And so the idea is that if they're at the top of the list now, we can get them into a smaller unit, which will be more affordable, and they'll have lower rent and lower utilities. And then that will open up that bigger unit for a bigger family. So those are the two things we took a look at. I'm really excited about the pilot program about bringing displaced residents back. I think this is probably the first, I guess it's been 4 meetings that we've had that I've been to, 5 if you count the joint meeting with the school board. But that was the first meeting where I went into on an agenda item feeling like pretty confident of what I thought and what I wanted to vote, which direction I wanted to go. Of course, going to listen to public comment, listen to everything, but I felt like pretty certain of which way I was going to go, and I wanted to vote in favor of this to bring residents back who had been displaced. But the debate that came up during the discussion was, do we want to prioritize bringing people back over trying to keep people who are currently here and barely hanging on? I mean, how do you prioritize those? And when you're coming up with a listing or a priority list for affordable housing, it is somewhat of a zero-sum game. You're putting one person over the other. And so it's ideally we could bring both of them back, and hopefully someday we're at the point where we have enough for affordable housing that we don't have to make that hard decision. We can keep both of those folks here. So that was something that really made me reevaluate my position. And so I'd be interested to hear if anyone wants to chime in either now or at the end, your thoughts on that. So what we ended up going with was a pilot program with 50 units that will target, or that will give priority to folks who have been displaced within the last 10 years. So looking back 10 years, and they have to have had been here at least 5 years. So I'm certain that pilot program is going to show that a lot of worthy people, people who have worked here and have had lives here and who still have family here and connections here, they're going to be able to come back. So I know it's going to be a successful program. But still at the end of the day, and that was the comment I made in the meeting, is what do we hope to learn? We're still at the end of the day going to have to decide how to prioritize those two. So I'd be interested to hear what your opinions are, and feel free to, if you want to look more into it, to the staff report and email me later, definitely do that. The other thing I want to mention on affordable housing is that the mayor is putting together a housing task force. So if there are any of you out there who have particular interests or expertise, definitely throw your hat in. I think it's important that we have a wide variety of people from all over the community, and especially people from right here in District 5 that are a part of that. I've been told it's not like going to be a formal, I don't get to nominate someone. So it's just, if people are interested, they can express interest to the mayor's office. And I believe the person you should reach out to is Jonna Stewart. I think her email can be found online. If not, I'll look it up and drop it in the chat. But that's just something I want to make sure people were aware of, that they can apply to. In terms of other things to apply to, there's lots of commissions and things always in Pasadena to apply to. The Community Police Oversight Commission. The deadline to apply is on Monday, the 15th. So I definitely want to make sure, if anyone out there is thinking about it, you're running out of time, get your application in. And if you know anyone else out there who you think would be a good fit, encourage them to apply. Feel free to let me know that they're out there, and maybe I can reach out to them and encourage them to apply. It's a pretty straightforward application. It's basically just like the commission application that there's Natalia, that many of you have filled out before. The ordinance on the police commission doesn't really specify what council members should or shouldn't be looking for. It's really free form. It leaves it up to us. What I'm prioritizing, what I'm really looking for, is for someone who can, either from their own personal experience or through their professional experience or family experience, can really speak to and represent those who are most affected by policing in our community. I really see this as a forum for the community to express their opinions and give their input on the police. So I'm not so much, I think other council members, or maybe early discussions, people were wondering if maybe, to what extent former or current law enforcement in other jurisdictions should be on the body. And in terms of my preference, I would prefer that they not be. I'm looking for someone, just, an average person from the community who has experience with policing, so that this can be a forum for the community to give their input. So yeah, I really think it's important that the commission is civilian. In terms, another topic I wanted to talk about briefly, COVID. We're going to have another briefing from Dr. Go on Monday, so that may be something, if you're able to watch, that would be a really good thing to watch. All of her briefings are incredibly informative. She answers all of our questions, which is really good. And so if you have any questions you want me to ask, go ahead and shoot me an email or something, or shoot me a text. Like I said, it looks like we're going to be moving from the purple tier to the red tier, which means things will be opening up again under limited capacities. We will be getting all the details from Dr. Go on that. Today, the Public Health Department also updated our vaccine website to include an inquiry portal for people who have severe health conditions, as defined by the state Public Health Department, so that you can find out how to get an appointment now through the city, now that the tiers have been expanded, or we're getting more supply. A question I want to throw out to all of you, if you have been able to, or you've tried to get an appointment through the city, just what has that experience been like? I know in my family, we've gone through, through our healthcare providers, or through the county. So I haven't heard like how easy or how hard it is to go directly through the city. So I'd love to hear if you've had any hiccups, or if things have gone pretty well. I would love to hear that. If you want to share that privately, of course, feel free to shoot me a text or an email, or give me a call. I would love to hear how that's been. The other thing that came up recently that I wanted to make sure everyone is aware about is the Colorado Bridge proposals for different fencing. The different fencing proposals. There are 3 of them, and there are mock-ups available online that you can review and submit your comments on. They all look pretty good. I know a lot of people were concerned, myself included, that how it's really going to detract from how beautiful the bridge is. But I think it's important that we take these steps to prevent this being a draw for people to in their darkest times to come to this bridge and contemplate suicide there. So I think it's an important step, and it's really important that we all give our input, so we find something that we can all be satisfied with and happy with, because we're going to be with it for a while. Once we put it up there, we're going to be stuck with it. So make sure you review the options and give your feedback, and so we make sure our voices are heard. Those are pretty much all the key things I wanted to run through. Did Margot join us? Let me see. I wanted to introduce Margot too, but she hasn't responded.
No, I haven't seen her.
No, I see. Wait. No, I don't see.
Yeah, it's weird. She's not responding to me. She didn't respond, so she must be caught up with something. Hopefully she's all right. I'm sure she's fine. But Margot Morales is my field rep, and she is amazing. I am I shouldn't say just me. We are all in District 5 lucky to have her. She worked with Council Member McAustin for many years, and before that, Council Member Little. And so she knows the city in and out. She knows how to get things done. She knows everyone. So if you're ever having any issues, of course, feel free to reach out to me, but also include Margot, and can also just reach out to Margot too, because she knows how to get things done. She knows who to link you up with and who to talk to, and what needs to happen to get things done throughout the city. So we are very, very fortunate to have her and her wealth of knowledge and information and experience. She's a great resource for our district, so I'm glad to have her. I'm sorry she wasn't able to join us. But that's pretty much all I wanted to run through. I want to make sure we have time for questions. I don't, Mindy or Josh, did you want to take questions, or can I go ahead and call on people, or what do you want to do?
If it's easier for people to just raise their hand and you call on them,
Yeah.
just hopefully everybody knows how to mute and unmute themselves, but if in case you don't, on the left hand bottom corner of your screen, you should see what looks like a little microphone. And if you see a red line through it, it means you're muted. And if you click on it, you can unmute yourself. So if you have a question, just go ahead and raise your hand and the desk will call on you.
Yeah.
Well-
Go ahead, Carol.
Okay, so
Oh, sorry, guys.
I'm Carolyn Garner Regan, and my husband Michael Regan is here. We're glad to meet you, Jess.
Great to meet you. Yeah.
Thank you. We're on Claremont between Palm Terrace and El Molino.
Okay, great.
We had a tremendously positive experience with the Pasadena Health Department.
Good.
Our first shot, everything went well. There was a little bit of glitch with my second appointment, or my husband's second appointment. I called the Citizen Service Center and boy, they were right on it.
They are really quick. Yeah.
Something went wrong with my second reservation. And they just pulled me aside and handled it and said, we've got 4 more shots. We're going to get you in. I just think we should be really, really proud of all of our health department and all their helpers from other departments. I'm now retired, but I worked at Central Library for almost 20 years.
Oh, cool.
And so it was fun. I ran into some of my former colleagues out there helping.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. So just kudos.
Great. Thank you for sharing. I'm so glad to hear it was smooth, because I know it's just a lot to navigate, on the website and figuring out where to go and everything. So I'm glad to hear it's been working smoothly. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
okay, can I hop in now? Okay.
Hey, Carl.
Hi, how are you doing, Jess?
Good. How are you?
Congratulations. So good to have you representing our neighborhoods. It's great.
Thank you
I
so
wanted
much.
you already know about my interest in climate change, so I won't go into that now, but I will keep bringing that up in the future. But I did want to respond to the issue that you asked about, which is the returning Pasadena residents to affordable housing. And I would just like to say that one of the reasons that people are forced out is through this idea of off-site compensatory affordable housing, which we see in the Somerville project, which I think would be a terrible thing to happen to our area, but mainly because what it does is it says we're going to build this nice gentrified kind of space in here with this little enclave, as they call it, which is a little fort, but provide people who need affordable housing with off-site housing. We don't know where that would be, but it would move them away from the kinds of areas where they have the best access to their work, the best access to shopping, the best access to services. So I would hope that the people who would be returning are those who are being returned because they were forced out by programs like that, and that we prevent future exodus by people who need to be housed in Pasadena by doing away with in lieu housing.
Yeah, for sure. I know there's been, and it's very early, but there's been a lot of talk about the 99-cent store location. And I know there, again, it's super early, but the talk is that the developer wants to go 100% in lieu offsite, or just paying the in lieu fees, which again, it's very early, but that's that to me is not a good place to start.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Oh, and sorry, it just reminded me with the environmental issues. I haven't officially gotten my committee assignments, but I believe I will most likely be on the Economic Development and Technology Committee, or EdTech, and also the Municipal Services Committee. So Mooney Services, like deals a lot with our water and power and our public works, so that touches on a lot of environmental issues. So I look forward to working with you, Carl, and of everyone else on environmental issues. We're really going to get into the nitty gritty with those on the Mooney Services Committee.
Can I fill in the silence, or should I?
Yeah, go ahead, go for it. Unless
Anybody
anyone
wants
else
to
have another
shut
question?
up,
Yeah.
I will as soon as I see another or somebody else has called on. But I just want to say that I'm active in the Citizens Climate Lobby, and statewide in California and nationally, but also locally. And the Citizens Climate Lobby proposal is a market-based approach. It's not exclusive of the kind of Green New Deal approach, but it's a complement to that, putting a price on carbon. And we are nationally looking for municipalities and organizations to sign on in support of that. So I hope you'll consider that if I get you the information. And as well, I'd like to offer invitation to everybody in the neighborhood to join CCL, and I'd be glad to get you information if you'd like it. I'll put my email on chat if you want to send me any inquiries. Okay.
That'd be great. Yeah, and thank you so much. You reached out to me right when I first got sworn in, and I think you guys had a meeting and were showing a movie, if I remember. I'd love to come to your next meeting or a meeting, 2 from now.
Take care of crime first.
Yeah, that was a crazy first week, but yeah, definitely shoot me a message and we can get that set up again. That'd be great.
Thanks, Carl. Does anyone else have any questions for Jess?
Jen, I thought I saw your hand go.
Yeah, it's really sort of a random thing. You ask about the senior vaccines. I had a lot of trouble with the system, so much so that I sent an email to the department chair expressing frustration. It was early on, and I think, maybe they ironed out some of the wrinkles, but I was never able to make an appointment through them. I tried and tried and tried, and they would drop the openings at the most random times of day and night. And I pointed out to her that you're asking people 75 and older to call a lot of people are connecting with kids, that's actually who got me in eventually.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't, I suggested things that I thought would make it easier, like drop it at a certain time of the day so that we all know to go online at 8 in the morning or wherever it is, and the openings are there, rather than like 10 at night and 9:30. So I felt that this whole system, and this is just kind of reflecting both the county and the city, the system was very much a process that was difficult for senior citizens. And I'm making 2 appointments, and there never was an option for doing that. You had to try to cram through your information, and then jump back on again. And I know I can see the age group, so you all have done this. However, I was finally rescued by a family member who works in the medical field. And got that phone call at 10 in the morning. Okay, I've got you an appointment. And it was so I never was able to do it myself. And I know that now it's gotten much better. So it's not really a relevant criticism because the problem probably doesn't exist. However, I feel like as a community, we need to be better prepared for emergencies like this.
Yeah.
We knew this was going to happen. I mean, I'm a retired college professor. I knew from the beginning that we were all going to be doing this. And I always kind of was wondering, oh, wow, I wonder who's putting this together, because it's going to be really hard. And it felt like they did it at the last minute. Or as somebody joked, this was put together by interns who've never worked with somebody over the age of 60.
Yeah.
We're not dumb. We're just not that nimble on some of this stuff. So that's kind of it, is okay, if this has been a test run, we need to be prepared. I mean, obviously, we keep hearing about the fact that, okay, this is going to be part of our lives, perhaps in the future. So I sort of feel like that communities need to put more time into this. And I know that Josh in the past has also tried to deal with the whole earthquake thing. And I'm also interested in that as well. However, I had, as a block captain, I had a lot of misgivings with trying to get my section to communicate on the street. And in fact, I'm really big on earthquake prep, and watching Austin this last month. I mean, how many people
Yeah.
were watching Austin and go, oh my God, there we are, you know?
Yeah.
An earthquake would do the same thing. Your power would be out, your water pipes would break. I mean, all this stuff. And so we just sat and watched Texas do what we should be prepared to handle. So I'm totally with earthquake prep. I just have a lot of misgivings about us, my street, getting really together and to communicate together. I don't see it happening. But I do feel that that the emergency prep is something that we need to kind of be doing. And I'm sure there's probably innovative ways to pull something like this together without trying to get a real diverse neighborhood to all meet in somebody's front yard. There must be ways that we can do it. So, because I know that wasn't that sort of thing. Josh, wasn't that part of the deal tonight too? I probably missed that part of the talk.
No, we haven't got into it yet. So
Okay.
At the end, I was just going to take a quick count of who's interested, but I wanted to first finish up with Jess and any questions relating to what she's
Okay.
talking about.
Okay.
And then we will talk about it.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Jen, for your comments on your experience signing up for the vaccine. Yeah, I knew it couldn't. I've been glad to hear a lot of positive feedback, but I know there's no way it was flawless. And so I'm glad thank you for sharing your experience and letting me know, that, how rough it was, I guess, early on. Hopefully we've worked out a lot of those problems now, but I just know from my own experience, like my grandmother is 92 and she ended up getting it, thankfully, through her healthcare provider, but like, she literally doesn't have a computer. She doesn't have an email address. She doesn't have a cell phone. So it's like, she got a call from her healthcare provider to be like, oh, don't worry, we'll call you. And like weeks had gone by and they hadn't. And so it took me setting up her, with an account online through Kaiser and going in there and looking for appointments. It's like most people are, not most, but a lot of people, just aren't able to navigate the system unless they have someone step up and help them. So thank you for sharing your experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Laurel, go ahead.
Hi. Well, I tried the Pasadena. Unfortunately, I was too late and didn't get an appointment. But in between time, I got it through the Public Health LA. And their first thing was horrible. You had to go through each day, each time, and go back and forth. And then they upped it, and I got one right away. And I've actually had my second one now 2 weeks ago.
Oh, great.
And so I think they all were having trouble. It wasn't just Pasadena. I think they were all just not really prepared for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, logistically, it is a hard thing to figure out, but you'd think we'd be a little bit better at it. Sounds like we got better. But
yeah, I think most people, when they found out that the drugstores were doing them, they had an easier time. My friends did with that. So I was just glad to get it.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I got to hug my grandkids.
Yeah.
Let me ask a question, because I know NAACP had a vaccination site at I guess it was the Japanese community center on Lincoln. And they also, took people who showed up when they had extra vaccine. They gave it out. Is the city working with places like the Senior Center, Pasadena Village, and other organizations that maybe have access to elderly populations that might not otherwise be able to be reached?
They are. That was one of that's the question I asked at the last Dr. Go briefing, and she said they are. She didn't list them by name. Maybe I can follow up with her separately to get the specific organizations they're working with, but that is how they're doing their outreach to the harder to reach populations, is through community organizations.
And a lot of churches have contact with their elderly members. The Ministerial Alliance in the African American church community would be one. So I would hope that those would be avenues to get out to more difficult to serve populations.
That's a great point. Yeah, I believe they are, but I will follow up with her to see if they're using our church communities and their networks. Thank you. I thought I saw one more question. Maybe I
Maybe
was
the
seeing
person
things.
is shy. Put their hand down.
Well, I just want to put a plug in for my office hours. If you have more questions or you just want to drop in and say hi again tomorrow, 12:30 to 2, just go to my the District 5 website and there's a button. It's in green. No, it's in red. Sorry, it's in red. And so you just click on the button between 12:30 and 2.
Okay.
And hopefully it goes well. I'm a little worried. I mean, I've never done this. I don't know if anyone in the city has done this, but yeah, having an office hours where anyone can drop in. Hopefully it goes well. I just don't want it to turn into like 100 people all show up at 12:30 and it turns into like a town hall and they want me to talk for an hour and a half. I want to hear from people. It's more for me to hear from you rather than for me to like put on a show.
I think it's a great idea. Let me also point out, and this is related to a question, but the city council meetings now start at 4:30
Oh, thank you for reminding me.
to
Yeah.
encourage additional input from the public.
Yes,
So,
including my own input because I work and it's really hard to get to meetings. So yeah, so I guess the meetings, yeah, as everyone knows, are in the evening, and then during COVID, I think just because it was easier for staff, is my understanding. I've never got a clear answer, but I think it's just easier for staff mostly to hold the meetings during the day, and so they've been held at 2 for pretty much most of the last year. But at this past meeting, we voted to push them down to 4:30. And as things get better, the hope is we will get back to our original meeting time, or if not closer to it. So yeah, 4:30 is a much better time for most people. Most people during business hours work, surprisingly enough. It's crazy. So hopefully more people will be able to watch and participate. I've heard from some people that they like that they don't have to stay up till, the meetings can go long, so they don't have to stay up till like an agenda item comes on at like 1 a.m, and so they can just submit their public comment, through the website. So I guess there's pluses and minuses. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited that more people overall will get to participate, but yeah, we're going to be going later in the evening, which is always challenging as well.
can I ask one more question? That is,
Yeah.
What would you like from us to help you do your job better?
Yeah, just to always, reach out to me with your thoughts. If you think I'm missing anything, if I'm overlooking an issue, if you think I get something wrong, trust me, I'm going to say something wrong, or I probably already have many times. So feel free to point out things I get wrong, or I misstate, or you think I'm just completely missing the point or the issue. I want to hear from that. I want to hear that from you. My job, like I was saying earlier, is to represent you. So I need your feedback. I need your thoughts and opinions on everything. Don't ever feel like you're a bother or you're taking up my time. Like, this is what I'm here to do. So please absolutely reach out. And especially like you, Carl, like you're saying with the environmental issues, like I really want to draw upon all of your expertise. We have a lot of talented folks throughout our district and the city. And so I really want to make the best use of that and tap into that.
Are there any other questions or comments? I've been debating if I should bring it up or not. We were talking about it before. And Jan, I know you and I had a discussion about this too. It involves the people that protest over at the Planned Parenthood. I think you were saying that you were going to check on whether they're overstepping their bounds.
Yeah, so thanks for bringing that up. I spoke to Planned Parenthood folks this week. I want to say it was on Wednesday or Thursday, and they brought that up as an issue. And so I'm going to be looking into the issue more with them. Because of course, people have a First Amendment right to protest, but there are certain noise ordinances, for instance, that they have to follow, and they can't be honking their horns at all hours. And people are trying to work, people are trying to sleep, people have babies that are trying to sleep. So it's important that we make sure they are staying within the very reasonable bounds that we've established. So that's something I'll be working with both them and the police department to see what's going on, what more details. So if anyone has more information they want to share with that directly about like times where the noise is the worst or anything like that, feel free to shoot me an email or a text, and I appreciate all the info you can share.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Laurel has a question.
I was just saying they never wear any mask, and it kind of irritates me. I walk my dog because I'm right across the street.
Yeah.
And they never, maybe once in a blue moon, somebody will have a mask on. And I thought, if they're out here protesting, they can still wear a mask, which is supposed to be something they're supposed to be doing when they're outside.
Right. That's a good point. Thank you for pointing that out. I used to drive by there more often, but since COVID, I'm just not in my car as much. Are they out there like, will you say a daily
Every
basis?
day, 40
Yeah, every
days.
day.
Yeah, it's a 40-day thing, and they're out there by 7:30 in the morning, which is
Till dark, dawn till dark.
Yeah.
And the noise is constant
Honk,
that
honk,
whole time.
honk, honk, honk.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez. Oh, are they
Is
trying
it-
to get people on the street to honk?
Yes.
They're getting
Oh,
cars
okay.
to honk.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. That helps. Thank you.
The other thing I just wanted to mention is they kind of block the sidewalk of Belvedere. I don't know, Laura.
Yes.
But like, if you want to just be walking, like walking your dog, walking for exercise, they won't budge, and they have giant signs that are in the way, and they don't.
Yeah, it's not
They
good.
also park all over in front of my house. You can't, if somebody wants to come to visit me, they have to park down the street and walk back because they're all parked here. So
Right.
nobody is doing anything about it's supposed to be 2-hour parking in front. Nobody's enforcing that.
Oh, that's good to know.
I think it was partly because of COVID, but now it's them parking there, like 5 or 6 cars will be on the street.
From what I've heard, last I spoke to the Department of Transportation, is that they are back to enforcing all those
They're not.
things. They're not. Okay.
Not here.
Thank you for letting me know. Let me, I wish Margaret was here, so she could be taking this down, but let me write that
I haven't
down.
seen anybody enforce this since last year, before last year.
So pre-COVID, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
Jess, you
yeah.
might want to involve the city attorney.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, it's a sensitive issue, First Amendment, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. They have to stay on the sidewalk. That's the public place where they can be, but yeah, they can't be blocking, they can't prevent other people from using it either. So yeah, there's a lot of thorny issues there.
Yeah. There are some issues with people being able to protest on public property. I've had some issues with that at the last library I worked on. I worked at as director. I just can't remember anymore.
Yeah, it's hard, but thank you for letting me know about the noise issue and how often and frequently, and how many people is it usually?
It can be anywhere from just 1 or 2 to like 10.
Yeah, sometimes there've been a dozen people there. And sometimes it's children, sometimes it's...
Yeah, they bring small children there all the time.
Got it. Thank you so much for letting me
But like
know.
I say, nobody's wearing masks. That's my main thing. I don't
Yeah.
like. Are there any other comments or questions? Jess, I want to thank you so much for devoting your Friday evening to coming to talk with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, and sorry for the weird time. Getting my schedule established this first month has been hard. So thank you everyone for making it on a Friday evening.
Well, thanks for coming.
And then
Yeah.
one thing I just realized while you were talking is there anything, because this is the Washington Square Neighborhood Association and you're part of the Washington Square Neighborhood Association, is there anything that we need to bring to attention to our council member?
Oh, well, one, I owe you dues. So I will. I'll get those to you.
Watch out, Arlene will be on your tail. Yeah, she's not
Yeah.
here this evening, so I could say
Yeah.
that.
But in all seriousness, I know it's kind of weird, but is there anything that for the association in the neighborhood that we need to be aware of, or not city related, but just our neighborhood?
Not that I'm aware of. There, I guess just yesterday they were serving a looked like a search warrant across the street from me. I don't know. It's not like official city business, but just, I mean, I'm not sharing that in my official city
Are you
capacity.
on
Just like
Hudson?
I'm on
Steve?
Hudson, yeah, at
We
981.
saw that. We saw that.
Yeah.
At least 12 officers. It
Yeah,
was
they were
big.
there
It
like for a
was.
few hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Do you
was
know
curious, like,
which
should I
house it
use
was?
my new powers as a city council person to call up the police department and be like, hey, what's going on across the street from my house? But I didn't. Maybe I should have. Maybe I still should.
I had an incident about 2 weeks ago in which a stolen, what was it, a
Oh, right.
stolen car was left in front of my
Merc-
house.
Oh, how weird.
Like
It was a Mercedes
SUV or
Benz
something.
of all things.
Yeah. What
But it-
happened? Like, I guess did the police department like
Well,
find it, or?
Well, I was bugged because people have been parking in front of my house and leaving their cars all day. And I don't know who they are. They don't live
That's
on
weird. Yeah, it's not a normal place to,
Yeah.
that's kind of an out of the way place to park.
Well, I think that's why, but
Yeah.
this one, I asked my neighbor if it was one of anybody she knew, and then we noticed that it didn't have license plates front or back. So she got the VIN number by taking it through the windshield and called it in and found out it was stolen.
Wow.
So then we called the police and they came right away, and they tried to contact the owner and see if they wanted to come and get it or somehow get it to them. But
Yeah.
they ended up having to take it away on a flatbed.
How
I
weird.
did actually email you, Jess, but I did the J Revis, not the
Oh,
J. E.
It'll get
Revis.
to me eventually. You just have to
So-
wait. You have to wait for Jose to show up to work on Monday to forward all the emails that went to.
Because one of the things when cops were there, they were told, or I'm not sure who said it, but they said that the people who dropped off that car went into a house on Palm Terrace. And they knew that, but then they didn't go and follow up. They didn't go to, I don't know if you can go into the house without a warrant or knock on the door, but it just.
Yeah, you think at the very least they just go knock and be like, hey, is this your car?
Yeah, because one of the other neighbors had seen them earlier in the week changing out the license plate on the car.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
weird. Yeah,
But
they
the way it
didn't have
was,
plate
it
on
was so in the broad wide open that it was like, oh, well, they must just be changing their plate or doing something, it wasn't,
yeah.
Heather Square seems the most unlikely place to do these blatant criminal activities, but somehow it's a magnet for like a concentration of activity. So every time I see incidents on Heather Square, it's like, why did they choose Heather Square to be a porch pirate? There's like 5 cameras on them, They're like this far away.
And yet, yeah, there are, and yet no one got footage of the people walking away who parked the car.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
Oh, the last thing I wanted to share is just in getting to know other parts of the district better. I really have to say that the main takeaway I had, in comparing Washington Square with other parts, is we are just so lucky to have like this very established neighborhood association that, what do we have, like 200 people on our email list or something crazy like that? But
Right now it's more like around 80.
Oh, it's 80. I thought it was more. Never mind. Okay. But anyways, it's like
we're working
we
on it.
have like a
But
core. We have
we
like a
have
core of people
400.
who are involved, and like we have a long email list, and like it's just a really good way, one for all of us to get to know each other, but also to get like linked into what's going on in the city more broadly. And so it's a really good model. And so to the extent I can, help other areas get something rolling like that, I want to try to work on that, because right from when we moved in, we just felt like we were immediately got to know everyone, got to know what was going on. It's a really special thing we have going on here. So we're lucky for all the work everyone puts into keeping the ball rolling. It's a lot of work. I know it is. So thank you for all you do.
Sure, thank you.
Well, thank you.
And I have
Go
one.
out and say, it's like the power of 200.
I'm gonna say there's like, yeah, there's like 500 people on the email list. That's what I'm just gonna
Yeah,
say.
we'll just go with that.
Yeah.
We have 400 homes that we drop flyers at, and
Right. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of homes.
a few of the helpers are on this call. At least
Yeah.
one. Tim is. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
Tim and
Yeah.
Joe, they help, and
Laurel.
and Joe and Pepe help,
Yeah.
and
And Laurel.
Jan helps too, and Laurel helps too. So we have a
Thank
bunch
you
of
so much.
helpers here,
Yeah.
and so.
I had an item, it's not a question necessarily, but most of you are familiar with the fact that we're going to have a community house in Washington Park next year. And I just wanted to say that sometime in the next month or so, probably people will receive a postcard for the first real presentation of the design to the public. We've been having private meetings or meetings with Friends of Washington Park and a few others. So they're behind schedule, of course. So they were supposed to go to plan check this month. I mean, February, I don't think they made it. But I think the design is really fantastic. It's gonna be a beautiful building, or two buildings, a separate restroom building in a craftsman style. So, and breaking ground in the spring, maybe. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm sure it will be a real improvement for the park. And the park, by the way, I go up there every other day practically. It has been so nice up there lately, and there's been families with their kids, and it's just a real turnaround from years ago. And so many of the new people coming into the neighborhood, they're not afraid of the park. Like they don't, some of the older people have these stories to tell, and I think it's just been really peaceful up there of late, knock on wood. So,
well, thank you. So it's a lot of it is due to your hard work. So thank you for everything you've done for our park.
well, you're welcome. But and it's a group of us, and
Yeah.
a lot of people here have worked on one thing or another in the park. So
Yeah. Has there been any, I don't know, sketchy things happening lately? Like I did see there was a report of, I think it was in the evening.
yeah, there was gunshots there was part of that whole spate of shootings about a month ago.
Yeah.
Included Saturday night, one night late at night, like 11:30 near the handball court. Shots were fired. We could hear them down here.
I heard it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember remembering the time because then the next day I saw the report and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
So they just found the spent casings and no report of anybody injured. And then that same night there was a shooting on El Molino, further south at Orange Grove, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
So nothing since then. I haven't heard anything
No.
since. And I guess there was that marijuana delivery driver who got held up right along on El Molino, right near the park. But I think that was around the same time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder where they were dropping it off, because there you go, walk through the park and smell marijuana.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish the police actually on the El Molino side where those picnic tables are,
Mhm.
it tends to be a little bit of a gathering place.
Mm.
It's not like it used to be. I mean, still, it'd be nice if they didn't sit there and smoke, because the people with little children don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, did I see a question somewhere? No. Okay. Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate the chance to talk to you on a Friday night. Again, sorry for the weird timing. But yeah, I look forward to talking and working with you all more as we continue on and start to come out of the pandemic. Hopefully things are getting better day by day. Fingers crossed that we're over the worst of it. We're not going to have another surge as all of us, continue to get vaccinated and stay in as much as possible. Still, I think that's going to help us get through this as quickly as possible. So hopefully we're almost there. I know I feel like, I don't know, I guess a lot of people remember I was pregnant through 2019. So around the end of 2019, Alex and I kind of stepped back from the neighborhood association, a lot of things, because I was just so big and didn't want to go anywhere. So I've been social distancing for like a year and a half. I really miss people. So I can't wait to see you guys in person, hopefully soon.
Yeah, it'll be good to see everyone again.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you. You're welcome to stay, or if you need to go, we
I
understand.
might need to go help put Natalia to bed. Sounds like she's giving Alex a hand, some trouble. So
Where what Jen was talking about was actually a good segue into Map Your Neighborhood, which we had a meeting on that in early December. And I just wanted to get an idea of the level of interest and if we should plan to pursue that further. And then the other thing is Carrie still here? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Carrie's still here.
And then I wanted to let Carrie speak. So if anyone has any comments about Map Your Neighborhood, I'd be happy to hear them. Or I will put my email in the chat and you can email me. But basically, I guess, Jen, to answer your question, I don't know that it would involve every single person, because obviously there may be some people on your block that just are not interested. But I think the benefit of at least doing a mini version of Map Your Neighborhood would be, as Jen was saying, if there's an earthquake or, early on in this pandemic, it wasn't clear if there were people that needed help getting to the doctor or getting food or things like that. But particularly with an earthquake where we might be all on our own for a couple of weeks, if it was a big earthquake, that would be the benefit of doing this program. And for those of you that weren't there in early December, it's basically where block by block, somebody, I guess each block needs at least 1 or 2 volunteers. And then block by block, you find out who has, first of all, you get everybody's name, phone number, address lined up, and then what kind of supplies are available. Or does somebody like have medical knowledge where they would be available to help if somebody was hurt? There's a whole list of things. I don't have it in front of me, but I think personally, I think it would be a good idea.
Yeah, it's an inventory of your neighborhood resources, both material and skill. And I think, as Jen was pointing out, it doesn't take a lot of imagination, having seen what just happened in Texas, what could happen here. You were probably all as shocked as I was to learn that, in a county of 10 million people, we have, count them, 5,000 ICU beds, and then we're done. So clearly, in a major catastrophe, our resources could be quickly overwhelmed, and we would need to rely on one another for some of those basic things. So even having an inventory where it's not every home, but a patchwork of homes, I think is an advantage if there's a genuine emergency.
But even with things like how to turn off a gas line or water line or things of that nature.
This would be kind of block by block, then, that it would work.
Well, that's the model for Map Your Neighborhood.
So, I think this is a worthwhile thing to pursue, maybe in a more informal way. I think a lot of people are kind of hesitant to do kind of formal assessment. But I think, for example, on our block, we know, several people. So we have some idea of where to go for, you want some help with 17th century British lit, you just come to my house. You want, but so, there is some, but it's not formal, but I think formalizing it a bit would be great without having a kind of rigid structure, I think is good.
Yeah.
So everybody should have each other's, information about the phone numbers, what the special needs they might have. You have people on your block who are incapacitated in one way or another. I think that's important information to share.
Well,
Didn't-
I think we could, sorry, I was just going to say, I think we could take the basic map your neighborhood plan and then make it whatever we want to make it. It doesn't have to be rigid. We can alter it to what suits the people in this neighborhood.
I'd still like to do it.
Raise your hand if you would like to be involved. Let's see.
Half a hand.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, so I'm going to ask all the people that just raised their hand, if you would please put your email in the chat so that I have a way to contact you. Is that okay with everybody?
Or just have them email you.
Well, I'm going to put myself in the chat as well, but that way I could like send something out to you.
How do we put this in there?
Oh, okay. If you look at the bottom of your screen,
Yeah, I hit the chat.
click on chat, a box will come up. It says everyone.
Okay, I see that.
If you're not comfortable with everyone, you could click on it and find, like it says Josh, Betty, Carl.
Okay.
There's all of us, and you could find me.
Okay,
For myself, I'm just going to put it where it says everyone.
okay, I'll do the same. So I'll just put my email in, right?
Yeah, that way I could form like just like I have a list of the people that pass out the flyers. The first thing I would do is make a list of people who are willing to be involved. And then we can maybe have a meeting outside of this meeting where we,
Okay. Do you hit then file or what? Or just that's it?
I'm
Just
sorry,
hit
what?
enter.
Do you have to hit file or
No,
anything?
just hit enter, Laurel,
Enter
I don't see enter.
on your computer.
on your computer.
Oh, okay. See, this is why I need help.
Okay,
There we go.
the only reason I know this is because I've been to 10 billion Zoom meetings.
I think Carolyn had a question.
Yeah, didn't Kim, who lives over on Palm Terrace, try to do this 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, yes,
She's
yeah.
doing it kind of as a pilot.
Yeah, and I think I think it suffered from what Carl was pointing out, which is that, you know, I think there's some optimum level of involvement that, you know, the model wants you to connect with everybody and have a nice clean model, and I just don't think it works in a diverse neighborhood quite that way. So I think, you know, block by block has to kind of adapt the model, and what I'm suggesting is maybe it doesn't have to be, you know, as formal or as involved, or, you know, people can offer what their resources are or not.
It may just be for people on the block to know, you know, like you introduce yourself. My name is Mindy. I live in 773 Belvedere, and I'm volunteering to help if there's some kind of a disaster. And the other people on our block that are willing to help are, you know, A, B, C, and D. And
But another thing is to start off with a self-assessment. You know,
Yeah.
what does each household feel its needs are or might be? For example, you know, we have somebody in our household who might need special assistance.
Yeah.
We have a tankless water heater, so we don't have that availability of water and a water heater. Like, so, you know, just think about what those things are. And I think that could be the basis of a discussion, you know, of what your needs are and what you might have that can.
You're drafted. You're going to help us. I'm drafted.
I'd be glad to.
Betty has her hand raised.
Yeah. Is the fellow who came to the meeting, I guess it was in December, from the other neighborhood who had done this already?
Space Ranch, yeah.
I mean, that was amazing, the material he presented. I don't know if everybody here, I don't think everybody here saw that. Is he still going to be available? Because he was going to be available for a number of months to give us some guidance if we got started. Then I remembered he was moving or something.
September he's moving, but he is available. So if whoever in this meeting is willing to meet again, where we could brainstorm some ideas, I would invite him. And his name is like I'm not coming to mind at the moment, but I have his contact information. I would invite him to join us and maybe give us some ideas or listen to what our ideas are and how they fit into his. I think he basically, he was I think a fire captain.
Right.
And he came up with this plan, which his neighborhood in Hastings Ranch has been using for a number of years. So they're extremely organized. Like maybe way
Modified
more
it,
than
right? Oh, sorry.
What? No, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. He modified it, right? The map your neighborhood, so it
Yeah.
fit better to his neighborhood.
Yes, and he said we
Yeah.
could do the same, and it would
Yeah.
still work.
And I think we can do what we can do with this, people who are sending Mindy their email addresses, is actually sort of brainstorm what our pilot project will be. You know, are we going to try to do it, you know, in smaller increments, or are we going to try to do it, you know, as an overall neighborhood? So we can have that discussion. In the meanwhile, think about, you know, what a plan like that might be or look like for Washington Square.
Jen,
Yeah, what the a couple of things, and that could be fine-tuned later. I would think that having some sort of an advanced, a flyer or something that was really attractive and eye-catching, that went out to the whole neighborhood and said, you'll be hearing from somebody in this week. So that when I go down to some weird stranger down here on my street, I can then, you know, say, hi, I am your neighbor. You've got a postcard like this, and here I am. I don't want to cold call people
no,
in my neighborhood. And so figuring out, you know, brainstorming ways that we can get the word out to our neighborhood. Which,
well, basically, just like we passed out flyers for this one, we can, that included 400, there you are, 400 houses. So, I mean, that it would work in pretty much the same way. I think we could.
Yeah, you could just blanket the area that
Yeah.
you were targeting for the map your neighborhood. You wouldn't have to do the whole neighborhood at a time.
Yeah, I mean, the same people, we gave everybody a flyer for this meeting. We've done it many times. So I think that model could work with what you're saying, something attractive. Maybe,
well, even like a Red Cross brochure, that sort of.
well, I could give them the brochure that I'm sorry, I can't think of his name. The Map Your Neighborhood man.
Yeah.
He said he has
Man.
he has lots of those, and he was happy to give them to us to pass out to everybody.
Okay.
And it explains exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And it's a nice brochure.
That.
Bad. Okay, so I will contact him. That will be the first thing I do. Okay, and to anybody that is willing to help, thank you. I think it would be worthwhile for us to do that to make sure everybody's okay. Should some disaster happen, the one that pops into my mind is earthquake, because we keep hearing eventually it's going to happen. So I think it's better to be prepared than not. And so thank you. Okay, next is Carrie. And Carrie, are you going to also put some things in the chat, or are you just going to talk? But first unmute yourself there.
There we go. I'm going to drop this file, this little blurb I created into the file, into the chat. Let's see if it'll do it.
And, you know, I don't know who does or doesn't know this, but you can save the whole chat. Josh, where does,
You go to the three little dots
oh, no,
on the right side.
but where I'm not sure.
Where does the chat go?
When you save the chat, where do you find it?
I'm seeing it. It's there.
Yeah, I see something.
No, I mean, so that you could save what you
It says
saved.
download.
It says download.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe it goes to your downloads.
It's
It does.
it
It
saves
does.
to your Zoom folder.
I
when you
got
click
it into my
save-
document.
That's right. It goes to the.
Okay.
I think you're
Yes.
talking about two different things here.
The downloads are for what Carrie's posting, but we were talking about how do you save the whole chat, right?
Ah,
You go to
okay.
the file icon.
Yeah, you go to the file, you click on file.
You click
You
on it.
click on the three dots.
Yeah.
And then it says save chat.
Oh, go 3 dots, save chat. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's a little show in folder that should pop up.
Chat saved,
You
show
click
it
that,
folder.
it'll take you to where it's saved.
Oh,
It's
okay.
in the Zoom. It's in your Zoom. It's in your documents, actually.
Wow. Cool.
Okay. And actually, Josh, what I was thinking
Figure out
was
how to use the
also maybe we could take all these things that have been put into the chat, not, the emails, phone numbers and all, and include that in an email and then just send it out. Could we do that?
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe you could do
I know you are.
You can.
because you're the tech person.
Yes, you can.
And I am not.
Yeah.
Okay, Carrie, go ahead.
All right. I know most of you here, but those of you that might not know me, I've been known to play the violin on little concerts on my porch and played once for one of our virtual block parties. But I wanted to bring forward here an opportunity because I feel, my wife and I feel extremely grateful and happy to have lived here in Washington Square neighborhood for 25 years, and we've seen all the great improvements that have happened in terms of safety and crime reduction. And I know there's ways to go. And one of those issues is the traffic on Lake Avenue. So I noticed many people walking in front of my house, especially since COVID. People want to get exercise, they want to get out, but Lake Avenue, it doesn't lend itself very friendly to pedestrians, as we all know. So this is an opportunity that I thought I'd like to present to our neighborhood association and see if there's interest. Maybe many of you know this, but the city of Pasadena has a ongoing development plan for traffic and safety on the North Lake corridor. That would be from Mountain going down to the Gold Line, basically. And I included a link there that says Pasadena North Lake Avenue traffic. That would be a link to their website where they're talking about what's going on. Now, they've already gone through the process somewhat, and we've noticed that they did not include any bike lanes on Lake Avenue. And so I wanted to bring up the issue of protected bike lanes because I did a survey along the corridor, and it looks to me like there's not that many curbside parking places really that would that could be could go away, because we have almost all the buildings and businesses have parking in the back. So it wouldn't necessarily impact the number of traffic lanes that are currently there. So what I wanted to do with this blurb that I sent out here was just kind of highlight how it would benefit not just for cyclists, but for everybody in the neighborhood. Because if you use Lake Avenue, if you walk or you drive, the problem is that the traffic is so fast and we've had so many accidents. I think we shouldn't call them accidents, we should call them collisions maybe. And so this whole borders on a lot of complicated issues that could be addressed in a lot of different ways if we look at this carefully. And so I brought it up to Mindy the other night, and she said, well, maybe we could have another meeting just dedicated to this, talking about this. But my ask would be to see if we can get support so we can go to the Pasadena Department of Transportation and say, hey, why don't you look at protected bike lanes along the corridor, one on each side of the street going opposite directions, just like the cars, instead of the parking that's there currently, the curbside parking, and see if that wouldn't have some very positive effects. It would slow down traffic and encourage people to walk and feel more safe. There's a lot of senior facilities along Lake Avenue, as we know, North Villa Gardens. There's the job center there. And then there's the issue about the Lake Avenue station itself, which does not have any parking at all. And a lot of the other stations do. So if you want to use the North Lake Station, unless you have someone to drop you off, you have to walk, bike, or somehow get there. So we really want to make, I think maybe we want to talk about how calming down the traffic, getting the speed naturally to get slower through having these protected bike lanes, which is a documented effect of it, would have a real positive effect on our neighborhood and make us all feel more comfortable with the issues of traffic and noise. And of course, has all these other repercussions, social justice, traffic congestion, helping businesses, because if we're out walking in front of the businesses, we're more likely to patronize them. I just went over the other day to this Salvadorian restaurant, and we have some really great businesses right in our neighborhood, but sometimes we drive past and don't see it. So right now, I know we're at the end of the meeting, and I want to keep it really short. So I put my address there, my email address, and I just like to raise the question: would there be interest in pursuing this idea to advocate with Pasadena Department of Transportation in their next, when they go to their next plan, to put in the possibility of protected bike lanes along the corridor that they're working on? Am I calling on someone? Jen?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
I think we saw that plan about what, in January, didn't it come on next door? And we all saw the plan. Somebody posted it. So I went to the link. I looked at that plan the city has for Lake Avenue, right? We all saw that. Okay. I also, Carrie, commented on that. And I directly referred to the treatment, and it's worth going down and looking at the treatment of Rosemead in Temple City, which has a bike lane protected by cement. And they still have some side parking. And this is Rosemead, which is, so this is, I believe, south of Las Tunas, all the way to what I would remember.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. In that discussion, people responded that there was actually already a plan for auxiliary streets in Pasadena, such as El Molino, to be bike streets. But we all know what a mess El Molino is and all the collisions that we've had at Villa, so it's not safe. With that plan, you were able to respond. And so this is why we probably should have had our rep here. What I, as someone who like you wants to see the bike pass, I think it's essential. It's hypocritical to promote public transportation and then remove your infrastructure that takes people to the station. However, I'm curious where our comments went, because we could write comments on that website. Does anybody remember doing that?
Well, they're supposed to respond. I commented it too, you mean Pasadena DOT?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're supposed to respond to that within a week or so.
I never heard from them. So I guess this is more maybe something to ask our council person, because she might know what that committee is or who those people are. Because right now they're out there somewhere. They haven't responded. It sort of felt like it was a done deal, and it goes counter to what the committees that I had heard had talked about. So I'm in agreement with you, but what I would like is some history on where did our comments go and what are they doing next, and how can we emphasize our position. with that.
I just
subcommittee.
want to interject that I told Jess that we were going to plan another meeting, and she said she did want to attend that.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that in the interim between now and, let's say, the first or second week of April, if you have something like you want to know what the history is or where your comments went, to send that to her, let her know that that's
Right.
something you'd like to know before we have that meeting, which she did say she would come to.
Good idea. I'll do that. Okay. She'll hear from me.
So
Great.
Jen, I just went. I put the link in the chat. The plan they had for the proposed North Lake, and under your thoughts, it says, "Thank you for taking your time to provide feedbacks on the concept design plan. We are no longer accepting comments as of January 31st, 2021. Please stay tuned for the next workshop."
Uh-huh. So we're all staying tuned. Is that what we're doing?
I guess so.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
But we could make a statement by, if as the Washington Square Neighborhood Association, we can make a if we come up with something that we want to say about this, we could do that, and they would have to listen to that, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's the intended purpose of taking, Carrie's bringing this issue up. And for people who aren't aware that this ball is in motion, they can put it on their radar, and then we can do a little bit of research on our own. And then when we come to meet again next month, we'll be a little bit better prepared to discuss this issue in depth and maybe come up with a community response, because the way to have the impact is to, show up in numbers.
Yes.
So also, Carrie, just something to throw out to you, something I did with the Washington Theater when they really started gutting it, is I went and I contacted all the other neighborhood associations. And I said, this is kind of what's going on. I'm gonna write a letter to the council member, the mayor, and the owners and say, look, what's going on? We need some transparency on this and what's going on. And so I was able to get a number of the associations to sign on to this letter. And that did end up spurring a meeting and getting a little talk going. So after it stopped, so that might be something to think about too, like not just us, and that can help, give you some of those other association contacts. But if you're saying, if instead of just Washington Square, if you also have Bungalow Heaven and Washington Square and North Washington and all these other places, and they're all saying, hey, this is concern to us, it might help a little bit.
Yeah. I think there's a problem with the way city does things with these kind of piecemeal approaches to things. There doesn't seem to be an overriding philosophy of what they want to accomplish by these so-called, specific plans, because they don't necessarily fit together well or express what the city wants to be or how it wants to make life better for the people in the city. There's a book by a Canadian author, McDonald, called Happy City, and it really talks about what makes a city a good place to live, it's a really great book, and I'll put it, I'll somehow try to get it out to Mindy and you guys to see. But, I think we need to work with the other neighborhoods and say, look, all of this has to fit together so that we all benefit from this.
Excellent. And I'd like to see the book and find it somewhere I could read it.
I'll send you the link. Okay.
Yes, please.
Probably on Kindle, of course.
Okay.
Well, then I will take the responsibility to check with Jess, see when she could meet with us. And then I think I'll just do the flyer to the whole neighborhood, because there may be more people interested than the group of us that are here right now. And I don't know, maybe I should invite Victor.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
I'll invite.
Is he still in our neighborhood?
Yeah.
He's in Orange Heights. He's just
In
down
Orange
the
Heights,
street.
He's got to pay his dues, but he can come to me.
Maybe we want to invite Chris Holden while we're at it. He's just across the street.
Yeah.
We can
Sure, invite
Oh,
everybody, I think,
Yeah,
get a,
okay,
have a discussion.
I'll invite the mayor and our assemblyman.
Yeah, that would be fantastic because this has a big impact in the direction that we have to go eventually. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'd like just take a.
They just live down the street. They just live.
Really?
Oh, you didn't
Hey.
know that? Yeah,
No.
Victor and Chris Holden just live the other side of El Molino.
I had no
Yeah,
idea.
Jackson.
Literally,
that's
you can
great.
walk to their house. They're like 2 blocks away.
Oh, well, maybe. On Zoom, it
Right
doesn't
across
matter. It's a front yard.
So, Carrie, I just
Yeah.
put a link to Romans for that book in the chat. If you're
Oh,
looking
thank
for it.
you. Okay, thank you so much. Let me introduce a friend of mine that's here who lives right near our neighborhood. He's on, I think, Villa and Lake, and his name is Topher Matters. He's hiding behind his card, but he wrote up a really fantastic blog. Oh, there he is. Okay.
Sorry, I was
Um,
eating dinner. I didn't want people to see me stuffing my face.
Anyway, I know him through this organization we're in called Complete Streets Coalition, but he wrote an incredible blog in favor of the protected bike lanes and from the point of view about the Lake Avenue station. And that link is on my paper there if you want to check it out, or you can just go to Pasadena Complete Streets Coalition blog and it's there. Anyway, I just wanted to introduce Topher to everybody and thank you for taking time to hear for me to bring up this issue and all the interest that's there. It's very exciting to me, and I'm sure it is to some of other of us here. So thank you again. And if you need help walking the block with flyers, let me know. I'll be there. Okay.
It's good exercise.
Yeah, and we'll circle back and really drill down on this issue. I think you're going to find a lot of interest on this. There's some veterans from the ancient North Lake specific plan days. So,
Right. Yes.
the rodeo.
Sure.
Okay, well, we'll plan that. We'll, what is this? This is the 12th? Yeah. So within the next, let's say 3 to 4 weeks at the most.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay, well, I guess we have come to the end of our meeting. I want to remind everybody daylight saving begins at 2 a.m. tomorrow. Well, really, it'll be Sunday at 2 a.m. So tomorrow night, before you go to bed, spring forward and lose an hour of sleep.
Ouch.
To the rest of us. And thank you all for coming and being in there.
Thanks for putting it together.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Mindy.
And look for your next flyer where we will be discussing the Northwest plan, and then also I'll contact everybody that is interested in helping with Map Your Neighborhood.
Okay.
So
Good night,
thank
everybody.
you.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.